Hi, Keith. Excuse me. Excuse me. There he is. Can you hear me okay now? Just give me a thumbs up if you hear me okay. There he is. All right. We're a little early, so I'm just going to give time for people to check in. I don't know, though. It's kind of a strange day, Keith. It might be you and I and Chris Odom. Here they come. What's up, everybody?
Ooh, so much that I can't
Hello?
even explain it all.
Well, you might get to.
I can't
There's
hear
not
you.
many
Hold
of
up.
us here. What's
Huh.
up, George? What's up? Uh-oh.
Can't believe it's almost over.
Almost. Yeah. Home stretch, baby.
Only have 2 more assignments to go. Already got the action plan paper done too.
Good.
Like to work ahead when I could.
Don't blame you. Get stuff off your plate.
That's right. That's exactly why I do all this stuff. Just to get it out of the way. So it's like, what if we're getting close and then something else pops up?
Because it will.
It went exactly, exactamundo. The only thing I'm probably saving for the last minute is the exit survey, probably.
Well, you should.
Right.
That's why they call it exit survey.
Yeah, that's right.
It's your last parting shot before you walk out the door.
What door? So
So
we're
the
gonna
last,
be,
the last question on the quiz may be, this class is A, awesome, B, just okay, C, I didn't really care for it, D, this class sucked. At that point, there's not much left to say.
Hmm.
I see we're joined by Vanessa. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hello.
Vanessa's actually from my writing for television and film class, but I invited her to participate so that she could listen to Chris Odom's presentation.
Oh, nice. That was actually my other question. Who was gonna be our guest today?
Although her name just disappeared off of my participants list, so I hope I didn't just scare her away. Well, I told Christopher Odom to check in with us around 3:15, so we're going to have a little bit of time prior to his checking in with us. So I asked this guy to come in and speak with you all. He's a professor at Full Sail University, but he is a doctoral candidate at UCF. So he is technically a student here at UCF. And he's a really dynamic speaker, and his area of specialization is like branding and websites and networking and things of that nature. So I thought, what better note to end on as far as our guest list is concerned than somebody who can give you some some parting wisdom about how to, sort of approach entering the job market and stuff outside of, after your graduation. So that's who is slated to be here at 3:15. Until then, if you have any questions about anything that you're working on at the moment, or you need any feedback on something, we can certainly address that topic, in preparation for Christopher logging on. How did you guys do with the second round of resume reviews and feedback and stuff?
Well, I didn't get feedback yet.
Well, I think technically you got till tonight, right?
Right. Well, tonight is the night where the new resume is due, but the feedback itself is not due till the 26th.
Sunday next week.
Yeah. So we are still yet to be assigned our review people.
Okay, let me know if that's not working, because WebCourse is supposed to be doing that automatically, and it didn't work so well the last time. And I already have one student saying that she hasn't been assigned to a group yet. So
No, I didn't get my 2 people yet.
All right. Let me know if that continues beyond. It might be waiting for the due date of this evening to start assigning.
Yeah, probably.
You can't give feedback on a document that doesn't exist. So that could be the hang up right there, is it's waiting for all the papers to be turned in.
Fair point.
It's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Good.
Everything else okay?
Yeah, I'm getting some questions ready to go right now. If I have anything to give, I'll tell them later.
Yeah.
After we're done with our guest.
Okay, good. I'll just throw this out there that December 1st, which should be next Wednesday, or the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. Let me just verify that. Yes. Okay. On December 1st, I'm having two guests in my cinematography 2 class. One is a demonstration and the other is a presentation. The presentation is from the IA 477 chapter president, Chris Raynung, who is going to talk about the IATSE in Florida, the motion picture union in Miami, and the stagehand local in Orlando, 631. Answer questions about the union, and give you a little presentation about that. So you're welcome to be a part of that if you guys find yourself on campus on Wednesday, December 1st from 3 to 6 p.m. and you want to pop by and just listen to that presentation. Chris will be on from 3:15 to about 4 p.m. And then after that, I have a demonstration of a camera car by a local professional named Michael Bernstein. So it'll be an interesting day for cinematography 2 students in 2 weeks. And since it's kind of professionals visiting from the outside coming to campus, if you want to attend, you're more than welcome to. Let me take a look at my notes here really quick. So we should be in module 12 by now, which is evolving with the industry. So we're going to talk with Chris Odom, and it's about personal branding. It's about what do you do to get your name out there? You know, what kinds of things do you want to think about when you're making your resume? Should you get business cards? All that kind of stuff. And he's also big on websites. So if you have any ambition to start a website, you might get some really interesting information and some good feedback from him on that topic as well. So I'm just looking through to see if there's anything else I want to bring up here. Self-reflection on professional practice. Yeah, you don't have that yet. Okay. So Sean, you said you already did your action plan paper?
Mm-hmm. I already, I already shared it too on the optional sharing thing.
Okay. I haven't even looked at those yet because I don't have a due date until December 2nd. So, or no, I'm sorry, November 26th. So I'll probably let those gather for another few days before I start looking at those. What's your plan though? Are you going to go to graduate school? I think you were kind of on the fence about that.
I'm not going anymore.
Nope. You decided to forgo that at least for now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, got some other plans though, film festivals and such.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Very good. Hi, Chris. Are you there? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. What an awesome backdrop you have.
Yeah, I took the time to log into my UCF account with my UCF background.
Is that the student union?
Yes, that's in the student union. That's like a Pegasus floor.
Okay.
I
All
saw
right.
some legs.
So the situation is people are kind of popping in and out this afternoon, and I think it has to do with the time slot more than anything else. I am recording the session so that folks can watch this at their leisure and get the benefit of our conversation. We do have there's a half a dozen of us here that are waiting, and one young lady who keeps popping in and out. I think it might be an internet connection thing. It is kind of raining over my head at the moment. But we can move forward whenever you're ready, sir, to give us your discussion. So we were talking at this point in the semester, we are in a situation where we are thinking about things like, the imminence of being out in the world, and evolving with the industry was the sort of the theme for some of the stuff that they're going to be thinking about this week and next. So it could encompass discussions on things like research, resume building, networking. I have one individual who's joining the discussions specifically to hear your thoughts on website building and that whole concept of using the website as a source of outreach for networking capability, and for people to sort of look in on your brand and what kind of work you're doing and look at your materials sort of at their leisure and anonymously if necessary. So any of those topics and anything that you feel would be beneficial to that discussion this afternoon, I'm totally welcome and open to.
I'm a filmmaker. I'm also a social media content creator. So social media and film and television are three things that I'm very passionate about. I could talk a lot in many different directions. I have some links I'd like to share a few, but first let me hear a little bit from the people over here. What's your background in terms of being able to promote yourself for social media, and like what are your goals right now? What do you think your goals are? Where you're trying to get to next?
Excellent. Do you have anything that you would like to use the screen for? Shall I make you a co-host at this point? I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because at some point I'm going to pull up some stuff to sort of dissect. So first on my screen, I see Sean. What's your background with promoting yourself or social media or networking? Where is it you're trying to get to? What's next for you?
Trying to get me out there to get some experience first off before me getting to make my own stuff. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to actually find this stuff, you know?
So what kind of stuff have you already done? What type of work samples do you have?
Well, let's see. I do have a YouTube account, but most of that is just like machinima, gameplay videos,
Okay.
a couple of live action stuff too.
Okay. For the live action stuff, is that like a short? Is it a commercial?
Shorts.
Was it a promo? There were shorts. Okay.
Shorts, like short little silly skits.
Okay. Okay. You can kill it with skits on TikTok. Jorge, what's your background with like promoting yourself, social media or resumes? Where is it that you're trying to get to next?
In terms of promoting myself, I have a YouTube channel that just has my demo reels, projects that I've worked on, like the short films that I worked in, like Miami-Dade and UCF. I'm still looking for like a place to start my website. Kind of, I don't want to have to pay so much for it, so I'm still trying to sort out my options. And I do plan to get a Twitter account, you know, an official one for my career. And as to getting into the industry, I'm going to be going to like the Tampa area, and I saw that there were a bunch of post-production companies there. So I'm still trying to figure out which one I really want to go to first.
So what would you ultimately like to do after you finish school?
Well, I'd like to join a post-production company for like for films or music videos. I actually really enjoy making music videos, and actually have in my demo reel.
Would you want to be an editor or director or writer? Do you want to be a hyphenate? You want to be an okay, editor. Yes. You're a good choice. Only thing better than that is sound. Don't sleep on sound. All right, and Keith, where are you in terms of being able to promote yourself, social media or websites, and where are you trying to get to?
Well, right now, I'm looking into making an LLC first to do more freelance work, because I have recently done freelance work, but like wedding videos. But to get away from that and start doing more video-oriented or production-oriented work, I am looking into making an LLC to then have things straight to like have, what is it called? A more formative business, but like to send quotes and stuff like that, and invoices and whatnot. So that's what I'm looking at for right now. For social media, I mean, I've seen how TikTok and Instagram, like how those numbers work. And it's like, if you put the right stuff out there, it will gain traction. At the moment though, I'm not sure on which accounts to make first or what to put more effort into.
So if you're trying to be a company, yeah, you got what I call in LA getting papered up. You're not required by law to be papered up as a freelancer. The government loves it, but they're going to slap you with a minimum tax if you get papered up and form any type of formal structure. You only really need to be papered up if there's a lot of money coming in, because then that can cause problems and put you on the radar. You can still call yourself whatever company you want to call yourself. You can use a DBA or you can use your own name. When I'm freelancing, I just use my own name. I'm not making enough to get papered up. My brother is an independent entrepreneur, but once he hit 7 figures, he's only got like 7 employees and maybe 7 temporary employees. But with 7 figures, he had to get like a CFO and additional paperwork because that's like too much of a microscope on you. Okay. What about for our Colin and Vanessa? Where are you right now with being able to promote yourself, whether it's social media or website? Where are you with networking, and where is it that you're trying to get to?
Hi. So I would like to be a cinematographer. That's what I'm working for. Yeah, that's what I'm working towards right now. But I also am like working on a few pitch packages. I have some contacts that I met while doing a commercial a few weeks ago that I was PAing on. And the producer, well, the executive producer, he like buys pitch packages, but I wasn't ready to present my pitch package. So I'm like, but he told me, whenever I'm ready, I can pitch it to him. So right now that's what I'm trying to do, is like pitch it. I also don't know if I'm going to stay, I don't really want to stay in Florida. I haven't been to California yet. So I don't know, like I'm going to check. I feel like I should check that out. But the producer that I met, his production company is in New York. So I'm trying to get all the contacts and like network that I can from like when I'm doing these commercials, and I show up with like a good work ethic and just being like on time and everything. And the producers and everyone like loves that. So I just keep taking down contact information and also trying to improve my craft.
Okay. Colin, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Sure. I mean, for experience of like networking and all, it's really just been kind of connecting with people through school. I don't have like a website going right now or anything, but I'd like to get that going probably after graduation. I want to be a screenwriter. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so good. I got a nice mix. There's lots of things I wanted to hit. So do all of you have a LinkedIn account yet?
Yes.
So whether you're a cinematographer or a plumber, get on LinkedIn and not just be there. You need to have a 100% filled out LinkedIn account, volunteer work of short films, anywhere you've worked, what you did. It needs to be a full-fledged resume. Companies do check you out on LinkedIn. If I'm trying to do business with anything, I'm going to go to LinkedIn and see who you are. You definitely want to be on LinkedIn. A lot of companies are hiring directly through LinkedIn. Let's see, I had not planned to go to LinkedIn. Let me get a window open.
I can open mine if you want. I don't have a lot of information on it, but oh, there we go.
Oh, actually, because I did that the weird way, because I might show some videos. I really didn't want to go to my profile, but I wasn't going to do LinkedIn. That's my problem. So one of the first things people miss on LinkedIn is, I'm trying to get this stupid thing floating in the middle of my page. One of the first things people missed on LinkedIn is your headline. They think the headline is writer, director, cinematographer, editor. You can actually write a sentence. You can talk about your strengths and weaknesses. It doesn't just have to be a title. You should be using words that describe, what is your value added proposition? What can I do for you? And what do I want you to do for me? Take advantage on all your social media platforms of your one, you got to have a photo, look like a real person, ideally smiling, and see how I have like a call to action in my background header. That's just not necessarily for design. I mean, you can really get people to contact you. I want people to invite me, and people literally do that. They stumble across me on LinkedIn, and because I'm telling them, invite me in the photo. I'm telling them, invite me in the headline. And if I can find am I in my actual profile? Why can't I see this? They just change things around. So if I could find my actual bio, I ask people again to invite me. If you're new, if you guys haven't all made a website yet, can you guys see this link? Yeah. If you've never made a website, you're not really big on websites, the easiest way would probably just to create a website on Wix, and it's going to look aesthetic. If you want it to look a little nicer, you would pay to buy a template. If you're really going to get into building websites, you want to use WordPress, but not WordPress.com. It's the same company, but it's different. With this, you got to go through something wonky to install it into what's called a virtual server, but everybody's on WordPress. CNN is on WordPress, Apple.com is on WordPress. That's like what 40% of the market is making their websites on. And if you get into the WordPress world, there's little extra bumps you'll get for people that will find you. Since we're talking about websites, this is jumping a little ahead. There's a company called StoryBrand. It's run by Donald Miller. He's really a marketing coach for companies, but he tells you as a company or a freelancer or an artist, basically how to tell the story of what your service or your company. But what's really special about this for all of you is that he uses the metaphor of writing a screenplay to tell the story of your brand. Like you're the hero, you have a goal that you're trying to achieve, you've had experiences, you've had obstacles that you overcome. He actually has a book called where is Donald Miller, your story brand. This is a great read, and it would be really easy for you to understand because the entire metaphor of how to market yourself is based on a screenplay. And so it should just really hit right home for you. In terms of what I like about StoryBrand's concept is he's got his pop-ups going on. In the world of website building, you have what's a web page? A website is many pages. A blog is kind of where you put posts and talk about subjects. And you have what's called a landing page. A landing page is you stumble across something. It sounds interesting. You click on a link and it takes you to a page where there's almost nothing to click on other than like the call to action, which is like buy now, hire me, call me for an interview, book my services. What StoryBrand does with their websites, it's sort of a mixture of what's called a landing page and a mixture of what would be a website. He does have some buttons. It's not a lot of buttons, but most of the buttons are to make you take the call to action. If you happen to read the book or you look at some of their videos, it's really pretty easy to follow along. So everybody, one, gotta have a website. Two, you gotta be on LinkedIn. If you don't already have your website with your profile and your demo reel, maybe just do the LinkedIn first and then do the website. You only need one piece of content to convince somebody that you're awesome. It doesn't have to be 100, doesn't have to be 5, it doesn't have to be 10. If you have 100, go ahead, create a library. I just need one. And how much of that piece of content needs to be amazing for me to consider to bring you in for an interview? How much of that content needs to be amazing? Anybody?
One.
Yeah, about 3 to 5 seconds, specifically the first 3 to 5 seconds. That's from the moment that I press play. And so if you got like 20 seconds of openings and 40 seconds of credits, you're dead unless the credits are running over, somebody diving off of a cliff. So wherever you exist, online or in the virtual world, you have to be rhetorically convincing in 3 to 5 seconds. And that's not a bad thing. That's not it's actually a good thing. It means in order to get the job, to get people to do what you want them to do, you only need 3 to 5 seconds, and that's in the first impression. And so before you get really hardcore into like marketing yourself, I need to go to interviews, I want to send out letters, I need to go to job sites. You have to know if your product is rotten. You can't put rotten product on the street. And what that means is, have I ever won an award? Has anybody else other than my mom said this was amazing? Like with winning award, doesn't have to be Sundance. It could be a quarterfinalist in the Jack Oakey citywide film championship. As long as it's just one person other than a friend or family member is like, yeah, this is good. We're going to give you an award. We're going to say you're an official selection. That is good enough. And so if your product isn't rotten, then you can proceed to the next level of trying to attain something. Before I talk about like how to talk your way into the interview for the job of your dreams, I want to deviate in a different direction and introduce you to the possibility that universe, life might be interested in offering you more than your dreams. And most of you will say, that's okay, my dreams are enough. But if you just kind of like twist your thinking a little bit about like understanding what it is that I do. So what was it? Who said she was a cinematographer? I can't see everybody's name.
Me.
Vanessa. So you're so you say you're a cinematographer. What do you really want to shoot?
I want to shoot shows like Euphoria. I also really do like some of the feature films, like Call Me by Your Name. Just films like where I feel like I have a connection with, and that I can work with the director. So both of our visions align.
So for you to promote yourself, I don't have like some guys or girls. I remember offhand, cinema. you really want to be like on Instagram. Instagram is really about style and taste. There's a lot of cinematographers that use Instagram to kind of promote themselves. If you're like really crushing it on Instagram, because it's really designed to be in your mobile app, you can get third-party apps that will allow you to create what your wall is going to look like on Instagram before you upload. And then people are uploading 3 pieces of content on at the same time. And so the app doesn't just let you decide what order you're going to post stuff in. You can actually like color it and do all sorts of different things to create a look, because Instagram is all about style. Then once you get on Instagram, let's see, this guy doesn't have anything. Stories, some people don't even go to your wall. They're just in stories. Stories are stuff that happens. They disappear, but you can take a story and you can put it in your Instagram archives. Some people just live in stories. Stories are really just behind the scenes. So if your stories, it's not necessarily about beautiful cinematography. It's literally like, hi, it's Vanessa and I'm at Trader Joe's. And people are like, awesome. Yeah, that's what I want to hear, because that's what Instagram stories are for. Everybody should be on TikTok. Do any of you have a TikTok account?
Oh.
Yeah, so on my TikTok, I have close to 40,000 followers.
Good Lord, what's on my TikTok account? Let's do. Good. Oh my God. That's annoying. So yeah, you've got 40,000 followers on TikTok. How often are you posting on TikTok?
I try to post at least 2 or 3 times a week, but it varies on how I'm feeling.
What kind of content are you putting on TikTok?
So on my main page that I have 40,000, I talk about like anime and then also films, like shows and films.
Okay, that's awesome. So everybody's heard like TikTok is about music and funny stuff or lip syncing, dancing. Yes, that stuff does do well on TikTok, but it's not the only thing on TikTok. There's people talking about Black Lives Matter and politics. There's people that just do live streams and just listen to me talk, and they're just getting tons and tons of hits. Let me do. This is a really interesting person I came across in my travels. So not necessarily a filmmaker. This lady is a journalist, and she's got a nice looking site. She's had some real jobs, but she was in between jobs because she's like an independent journalist. And then she just decided, you know what, I'm just going to pick up the camera and I'm just going to start shooting stuff. I'm just going to be me. The way I found her was she was just running ads on Facebook, social justice, social change, visual narrative. And she just started making videos. This is her actually interviewing Benjamin Crump. She's from Minneapolis. She was one of the few reporters who actually got to sit in the trial of George Floyd. So she just spends like, $50 a month, and she runs ads, be a supporter. There's people actually, last campaign I saw her run didn't run that long because she met her goal. The moral of the story is that whatever it is that you want to be, you think, I want to be an editor, and then I have to have, some company hire me. But you're already an editor, you're already a cinematographer, you're already a studio head, you're already a network executive now. You can just simply pick up your phone and pick your platform of choice, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, and just press stream. You don't even have to make anything and just start talking. And without an FCC license, without permission, without being greenlit, without being a star, you're automatically a content creator. This, I'm going to show you somebody else a little bit different. So Suzanne Evans, I crew sometimes when I have time on different events, and I crewed on an event for her. Her background is she went to NYU for musical theater. You know, she was somebody that wanted to be on the stage, and she did not make a living doing musical theater. She was able to get a job as an associate producer in New York, making about 48 grand a year, producing Broadway shows. You know, it's a living, not what she really wanted, but she was just like tired of that. 48 grand doesn't go anywhere in New York. Then she was like, well, you know, I mean, I got a degree in musical theater. I know how to talk to people. I can sing. And she decided she was gonna like try like this coaching thing. And because she realized, you know, I can command a stage. My particular skill set is being on a stage. And she started doing this life coaching thing, which was really just teaching companies, small companies, how to market their products and services. And when she went into a room to speak, she could close people, and it just grew and grew and grew. So when I was crewing for her, it was on like a big 3-day event in Orlando, and she sang, she told stories, there was smoke and lights. At one point, people came out with candles when the lights were off. It was a Broadway show, supposed to be a marketing conference, but it's a Broadway show. She took her talent, which was being on stage in musical theater, and then she overlaid it into a different industry. She's still doing exactly what she wanted to do, but she's doing it inside, or rather outside of the box. And so on that 3-day weekend for her major event, after the last day where they had the smoke and the lights and people were crying and she's singing, the production manager leaned over to me and said, we just did a 7-figure day. She just made $1.4 million today in one day. And that's because instead of in the box, she thought outside the box. She took her talent, which was musical theater, and she put it outside the box and used it differently in a way that she had never imagined previously, and was able to achieve feats that she could not imagine. And so what's most important and getting to where you want to go, or getting to where you should be, is really thinking creatively. Or is anyone here today a veteran? So if for people at home, if you are a veteran, when you try to get a job with the government, they must hire you first if you're qualified and are a veteran, and there's some other categories of services. There's a great website if you want to get a government job doing video called usajobs.gov. Most people don't like think of like government video if they want to do, you know, like filmmaking and video production. They're like, you know, think that would be like boring. The government, everybody has a creative department, and everybody makes websites, and everybody makes videos, and they still need writers, directors, cinematographers. I had a gig, I was supposed to go down to the CDC to do some interviews, but man, coronavirus messed it up. Government video gig. That gig was going to pay me $1,500 for 90 minutes. Government video. Don't sleep on it. As a matter of fact, that if you decided, hey, I want to do government video, I want to be an independent contractor for the government, if you can become like a contractor or subcontractor, the stuff pays a lot of money. If you're like, that sounds boring, I want to do exciting stuff, you want to do government video for the Army. I had a contracting company try to get me once when I lived in Nashville to do video for the Army, but I was like too old. They were like jumping out of planes and parachuting down into Alaska. I was like, oh man, I got a bad back. You should have hit me 20 years earlier. So don't sleep on the government. As an extension of government video, there's so as an extension of government video, let's say like military contracts, like a company like Lockheed Martin, which is worth $1 gazillion, and they're everywhere. And here in Orlando, if you got a gig down at Lockheed doing video, just same old video you would be doing someplace else, that's like 100K. So that's again something that people may not be thinking about. If you were like, I want to just be purely, content creation, sketches, movies, really think hard about social media. This is Mark Fishbach, which goes by Mark Plyer.
Markiplier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch him.
Yeah. 30 million subscribers. He's somebody that got in early on YouTube. That's what I call grandfathered in. He has over, is that billion or million? I think that's 16 billion views. Just because he got in early. So Gary Vaynerchuk, are you guys familiar with Gary?
No.
I'm a little older, and so now you could kind of describe Gary as like a media marketing genius. His whole claim to fame was his family had a liquor store and he was doing the marketing. And then when YouTube was like first started, he went on YouTube every day and he made a video about wine and wine tasting to kind of promote his family store. Nobody watched him for like 2 or 3 years, but then when YouTube, a brand new platform, caught on, then eventually all that content he made was discovered and he just blew up into stardom now as like a online marketing genius. He has a marketing company, and he's has nothing but like big brands now. But Gary, he goes by Gary V, that's his nickname. He says, get in on the ground floor on new platforms. TikTok is not brand new, but it's still newer. There's still a lot of room on TikTok to soar. For those of you that say, you know what, I've already got like a feature script or I'm trying to promote this movie, let me go to Twitter. So I'm going to call this, you can sort of like Twitter jack your way into branding yourself. So Keith, you have a working mic, Keith?
Yes, I do.
So where do you want to go next, Keith? What do you want to do after you graduate?
After graduation, I do plan on freelancing for now, but I do kind of have my sights set on Atlanta.
Okay, well, first of all, great place to freelance, especially if you want to do below the line in Atlanta. Atlanta is short on line producers. So what type of freelance work would you like to do in Atlanta?
It could be, I'm fine with either editing or on-set production, really, and just learn as much as I can.
There's actually like a lot of reality type shows and being shot in Atlanta. And so if you want to be edit, you're like, yeah, Keith is going to make it. If he's going to Atlanta to edit, he's going to fast track. God, are any companies you've identified in Atlanta for?
I know. Oh, sorry. Well, I've heard of Tyler Perry Studios. Like that's a whole thing, and they're accepting. And they have internships and what up there. So I was thinking about that. That's one of them. I don't know of many other places. I know there's a lot of international studios that are stationed in Atlanta.
So if you were Keith and you're like, I'm going to Atlanta and I want to edit for Tyler Perry Studios, what you would do is for a month, get an account to imdbpro.com. I'm on my other computer. It's going to take me 100 years to log in. So you get an account to IMDb Pro and you'd look up Tyler Perry Studios. See if I can get it to come up. And you would figure out who on staff is in charge of post-production. No, I don't see anything popping up. What do we have? We've got manager of production and deliverables, not quite. Producer, sound editor, casting director, director of. So let's say maybe Takanesha Hubbard is a person that you might have to interview with, and then you would try and see if she was on Twitter. And there's people talking about her. Creative team. I won't go through the whole thing. If you could find her, you would follow her on Twitter. And then you would follow other people from other companies where you'd like to interview. And then whenever they're talking about something industry related, specifically to post-production, you would just comment. Because unless somebody just blocks you from seeing their wall, which most people don't, you can comment on what they comment on and just continually comment on anything about post-production. And they'll be like, man, this Keith guy is on it. I mean, he really understands the pulse. And so what you were doing is branding Keith, post-production genius, Keith, post-production genius. They're gonna, after about 20 times, seeing you comment, they're going to remember your name. And so they're going to start commenting back on your comments on their wall and be like, yeah, this Keith guy is on it. And so then when you interview and you call Tyler Perry Studios and you call Hubbard's office and say, hey, this is Keith, I'm so-and-so, then they'll be like, oh my God, Keith from Twitter. Yes, come in. We can do an interview. That's what I do, like for my academic stuff. And then when I show up at the conference, it's like, Chris! I do that for everything in life. When I first started working at Full Sail, I had bad credit. I had to find a place to stay. And I was in Nashville. And then I would call, I would use my skills as a storyteller. And I would leave a message on the phone at night, intentionally, and I would send the same message where I would tell a story. It's Chris from Nashville. I got a job at Full Sail. I'm a screenwriter, blah, 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 blah. So I become a person. And then when I would show up, because I know I got bad credit, and I would say, hi, I'm Chris. They go, oh my God, Chris, the screenwriter from Nashville. And then we'd have this rapport. I'm a person, and they were all excited. And then I'd be like, well, I've got bad credit. And they're like, oh, no problem, Chris from Nashville. Just going to rubber stamp it. So this is one way to kind of surreptitiously get yourself an interview. If you're like a real hardcore internet salesperson, what some people do is a lot of people are vain, especially if it's a high-powered person, and they just Google their name. Some people actually take out Google ads for the keyword of the person's name they're trying to get to, and so that when they're doing a Google search, let me open up a Google page. So if I was like, oh my God, I want to work with Michael Walsh, different Michael Walsh, ads would pop up in search and then the ad would say, Michael Walsh, you need to talk to Keith. And they would be like, what? There's been people who've done this, and then, they're curious and they click on the ad, and then they get an interview. How many people does it take to change your life? That's right, Keith. It only takes one person to change your life. When people try to do stuff on social media, they think, oh, you know, I need millions of views and I need millions of followers. No, you need one view or one follower, and then you need to convert that person. In the world of sales and marketing, they don't care how many views or how many followers they have. There's only one statistic they care about, is how many conversions. That means how many sales, how many call to actions. You know, if I'm an activist and I need people to sign up to come to the protest, how many people signed up? So have I ever done anything and I only had one person look at it and that result in money in my pocket? Yes, all the time. I make stuff all the time, books, videos, documentaries, you know, all the time, and only one person sees it. And then as long as it is rhetorically convincing in that first 3 to 5 seconds, I will get a phone call. I had somebody become a distributor of a documentary I made. He was the only person who saw that documentary on this particular platform, but he felt just compelled to contact me and ask if he could be the distributor in the UK. It only takes one. Yeah, it's exciting if you have millions of views. It's exciting, but you only need one. Oprah is a human being. Oprah does go online. She knows not to go online as Oprah. There's a whole culture of people who experience the internet in stealth mode. Michael Jackson, bad example, but there was a little boy singing Michael's songs, and Michael just would Google himself every day, and he heard the boy sing. He was like, "Oh, this is fabulous, and I have to meet him." And you know, next thing you know, the boy was famous. He was singing at Michael's funeral. Everybody is online. And so your one view could be Oprah. Just in terms of marketing yourself, you always have to prepare yourself for your 15 minutes of fame. Already have something for sale, already have something online that explains who you are, something that online that explains who you, what you want. And so that when you get that 15 minutes of spotlight, you can capitalize upon it. So, any questions?
I'm writing that quote down. That's a great one. Be ready for your 15 minutes of fame. That's a great advice.
The analogy I like to use for 15 minutes of fame is you could literally, this actually happened to a former celebrity. You could literally just be walking down the street and the car loses control, flips over and catches on fire. And then you run up to the car, pull the person out before it bursts into flames. It might be Oprah. And then Oprah's like, "Oh my God, you saved my life. I love Vanessa. I'm going to do a special on you, Vanessa." Now it's just like everybody's trying to contact you. Have any of you heard of Malcolm Gladwell?
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Gladwell, everybody should pick like 5, 6, 7 people to like model, like how should I create my career? How did people get where they were going? Malcolm Gladwell, he's like the toast of town now. He's everywhere. He's being interviewed. He's writing books. He's doing masterclass. He came from a decent family. His dad was a professor. He wanted to go to grad school. He just didn't have the grades. Tried to be a writer. It just wasn't that good. You had to write. You guys are probably not old enough to heard of like the Unification Church of Reverend Young Sung Moon, the Moonies. So the only gig he could get as a writer for a periodical was for a cult. Eventually, he got to go to a tabloid. Eventually, he got to write like a real place and another real place. But he had 2 articles that were hits. They were just online sensations. And because of these 2 hits out of the middle of nowhere, he gets $1 million advance to turn one of those hits, The Tipping Point, into a book. And so all of a sudden, this guy that was writing from a cult now has $1 million to write a book. And then after he gets this $1 million book deal, then he commands $45,000 per speaking event. And so he does 31 of those in his first year. And so it only takes one hit to also change your fate. It takes one person and it just takes one hit. Sometimes you're doing stuff and you're thinking it's not working. But if you're doing stuff correctly, it's like the wind. We can't see the wind. I think we can feel it, but it's working. When I first started trying to produce independent feature films, I was like doing everything, just sending out the press releases and building the website. And at some point you just feel like, nobody's listening. This is going in the trash. And then like one day, like 3 years later, after I was really driving hard, I just get this call like, Christopher Odom, oh my God, are you like still making movies? I've just been dreaming about working with you and your partner. I'm in the movie business now. And next thing you know, I had a pocket of money and to make a film. I didn't even think people were listening to the stuff I was putting out there. They were listening the whole time, but because I didn't see the immediate results, I made the erroneous conclusion that it wasn't working and it wasn't convincing people, but it was working and convincing people the whole time. It just wasn't the right time for them. And so, one, know your product is good, get some third party validation. Two, make sure that I can find you, have some sort of proposition that makes you different from everybody else. You're not different because you're unique. You're not different because you're good. Everybody says that. But if you can find something interesting to say that goes beyond saying I'm different or my work is good, then you've got something. And then if you've got the good product and you've got the online presence, that's when you can get a little bit more aggressive with creating stuff or creatively trying to set yourself up to get an interview. And for people that are like, I'm not just like an online person, like some of my friends who are like marvels at getting jobs and networking in the physical world. Like one guy will actually, if he wanted to work at Tyler Perry Studios, he would drive down to Tyler Perry Studios and then find all like the Starbucks or like snack shops across the street. And then he would just camp out there all day long for a week. So people start to recognize him, and then he would just have conversations. And at some point when they would ask him, well, what do you do? He goes, well, I'm an editor. And he's like, oh man, my friend Michael, as a post-production supervisor, were you looking for work? And he was like, well, yes, actually I am. And then bam, next thing you know, you've got an interview with Michael. And so this stuff works in the physical world too. It's just easier if you just sit at home. And
that is the whole school of thinking around the Starbucks screenwriting culture in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I can tell you stories. Everybody in Los Angeles is trying to be in the industry, even when they tell you they're not. They all got a script, they all got a headshot, they all got an agent, accountant, publicist, everybody. It gets to be overwhelming. And so for those of you who are thinking, I'm going to go to Los Angeles because there's more jobs. Yes, there's more jobs, but there's more job seekers per job. And so that's something you need to mathematically be aware of. You're putting yourself into a situation where there's less jobs available per person. And so, or you could just go online and get your 50 million. Sometimes, some of that stuff on TikTok, people just get like 300,000-400,000 views like it's nothing. I'm going to show you one more person. This is not from TikTok. This is, did I save her link?
While you're looking for that, Chris, I just wanted to make a comment to piggyback on your statement about, the competition in Los Angeles. So when you make a statement like that, or when I make a statement like that to the students, I express my opinions like that based on my dozen or so years of working in that environment, working in the industry, in that community, in that city. And you taught at UCLA, right? Or did you just get your degree from there?
I got a couple degrees from there, and I also worked there, but not as a teacher. But I worked in the graduate film production department.
So I think it's important to highlight that and say, look, this is not simply a random opinion about that kind of circumstance. This is informed by, in your case, having attended UCLA, having been a student there, and then having worked at that college as well, and seeing the sheer volume of competition, seeing the students and the quality of their work, and understanding the implications of going to a market like Los Angeles and seeking your fortune through conventional and through non-conventional means. So it's an informed opinion. It's not just talking to sound, convincing or interesting for a group.
So, but before I forget, because I know our time is limited. So Vanessa, a cinematographer who's on top of their game with a short. That short will probably get invited to about 550 festivals worldwide. 550. All you need to do is just do a good job as a cinematographer, and then directors who have money will pay to get really great cinematographers to shoot, direct their short. And so that's very, very healthy if you want to be a cinematographer. One guy I used to work with actually is the head of cinematography on a talk show, which is not for Jimmy Kimmel. That's not exactly what you were thinking you were going to do. But yeah, cinematography, very, very, very healthy. Keith, editor. Oh my God, editing is really healthy. If you wanted to do trailers, you could make $200,000-$300,000 a year. You can get promoted real fast through a trailer house. Within a matter of 2 or 3 years, you can just go from assistant to trailer editor. Editing is very, very, very healthy. Everybody that I met my first year in LA said they wanted to be an editor if they were doing TV. Not only had they made it to full editor on a TV show, they all had Emmys. I was still struggling. Editing, very, very healthy. Only thing more healthy is sound. The field production mixer. That's the first LA millionaire I've actually met, is the sound guy. Nobody explains to you in film school that the person with the Nagra might be a millionaire with 2 Academy Awards. Don't sleep on sound. Get the money, and then you can do anything you want later. How much am I out of time?
No, not at all. You can keep going for as long as you feel that you want to.
So Amabel, this is somebody from one of my private YouTube groups. She's a licensed cosmetologist, and she was like, YouTube, this is 8 years ago. And then she was like, I'm trying to do on video. And so she does this video about how to cover up scars, and where she did this in 8 minutes live on her iPhone, just sitting on a book on her vanity. And then on her second video gets 200,000 views. And she's like, what? And then that just blows up to 500,000 subscribers with over 63 million views. And now it's just sort of like a lifestyle channel. And that was just somebody who literally did what I said, pulled out their phone and they pressed YouTube. It is not even edited, stream. And next thing you know, she's making 6 figures. Another person from one of my groups who's really interesting is Kimberlia. So she's actually
way upstairs to
a lawyer and stopped working, like to just take care of her kid. And she was just kind of like just doing like a mixture of stuff geared toward women, technology or whatever. But then she ends up accidentally becoming the queen of
Welcome to the Disney
pop sockets. Does everybody know what a pop socket is?
No.
I don't have my case in front of me. Pop socket is a little circle that you stick on your phone. And if you have small hands, and then the circle pops out, and then you can kind of clip your hands on it and then be able to do something with the phone without it falling out of your hand. Actually, a lot of women have it. A pop socket is actually all I use when I'm shooting in the field, if I'm traveling the world. She accidentally becomes the queen of pop sockets. If you go to YouTube and you just type in pop socket, you know, after the ads, you know, she's going to be like half of the first 50 results. She becomes the queen of pop sockets and starts selling her own pop sockets. But then she just gets so many followers that she does something dangerous. She just changes her channel, but because she already has, I'm like clicking around too fast. Whereas she's got 250,000 subscribers and she has 24 million views. So then she says, you know what? You know, I still got my pop socket stuff out there. I'm not going to make any more stuff. And then a year ago, she decides to become a true crime writer. And so now she's using her platform of 250,000 people to write true crime. And so the opportunity is out there. If you do blow up crazy big and do get to work with the studio and the network, that's fabulous, but it isn't always as much money as you think it is. I have a friend as an actor, he's been on a soap opera for 11 years, but he's like, man, I never get no storylines. I don't make enough to pay all my bills. So you're thinking, oh, he's just celebrity and he's just getting by. Shonda Rhimes is like the queen of television. So you're thinking like she's making a lot of money. Yes, she is. But the network is making a lot more, especially the ratio. She's trying to go to Netflix. She's like, get out of here. Doesn't matter how many people are watching if I'm not getting paid for a share of that. I could get paid 5 times as much with only a fraction of what I'm getting on network. And so be careful what you ask for. And always remember that you're already a cinematographer, you're already an editor, you're already a studio head, you're already a network executive. All you have to do is pick up your phone and press stream. Podcasts are really, really healthy too. I had some students during the coronavirus, they're writing students, creative writing, screenwriters. They're like, I'm bored, let's do a podcast. I don't know what it's about. Hello, was the mic on? 1,600 viewers, listeners immediately. And they're like, what? And then within 3 months, they have 6 sponsors. And now they have to like write commercials and, for their sponsors. And the podcast is not even about anything. And podcasting is very, very, very healthy. People say it's back, never left. If each platform has a different reason why people go to the platform for different purposes. And so everything is healthy if you're making stuff for the people who come to that platform for that purpose. Another trick to marketing yourself is to only market directly to the people that you want to do something for you. So if you're trying to get a job, so your audience isn't just somebody who would buy a DVD or buy a game. Your audience is the executives who would literally hire you and write a check. And so then you have to ask yourself, what does this executive who would hire me as a cinematographer, what are they looking for online? What are they typing in? and Twitter. I'm not going to go in deep about how to do that, but there's ways to do that. And then whatever you're putting on your social media content, it's for that audience of the executive who hires cinematographers, and that's how you get discovered. I do voiceovers too. I didn't even realize how big this company was. They found me because it's like some weird keywords I used on my voiceover site. It's kind of like genteel, regal, African-American, intellectual. I actually got those words from a gig. A friend of mine got cast in, just because of this unique words. They were talking about me about doing some very major projects. First time I was interviewed in a filmmaking magazine was just because I was shooting another trick. If you want to make a movie, is shoot on whatever the brand new camera is just came out, be one of the first people to shoot on it, and then you get free press because you're the first person to do a feature on it. The magazine that did a story about me didn't even really want to do a story about me, but they could not find anyone else who had made a feature film on that camera. And so they were stuck with me, and then they had to put me in the story. And so there's tricks. Right. Any questions? I think I've rambled on enough. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I got another minute, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did any of you watch Insecure?
No, but that sounds pretty interesting.
Insecure
Not yet.
is a show on HBO by Issa Rae. I think it's in its 4th season. So Issa Rae was just one of those millions of people in LA, and she was like, oh my God, I just got to make something happen. It's like, Jesus, give me a break, any break. And so she was like, you know what? I'm making a series. I'm putting it on YouTube. And she makes this thing called Awkward
Goodbye and the
Black
spam
Girl.
call.
Like, oh my God, this has got to be like 10 years ago. The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. It's actually really easy to get great talent for free. You can also do what's called a deferment, because everybody, especially in LA, is just desperate to do something to put on a reel. She just gets her friends together and she makes a mini web series. It's about 10 episodes a season. They're like 5 to 9 minute episodes. It becomes a hit. People start talking about it online, and the next thing you know, she's got a deal at HBO to turn Awkward Black Girl into a series called Insecure. And this was just because she took the initiative to make it online, and it just got buzz. It caught on.
Right.
People were like, have you heard of Issa Rae? And then suddenly she's everywhere. So if you're a creator of art or content, games, books, movies, you have to create. And the internet is a way for you to create without any gatekeepers, without asking anyone for permission. You can just start creating. If you just start creating, even without doing all the really powerful legwork, sometimes you just might be discovered by accident, because there's just a synergy. You have to actually make something and put it out there in the public. As a rule of thumb, you want to do something every month that can be consumed by the public. I don't care if that's a movie, a short, an interview, a blog post, a podcast. You need to be doing something every month that's going to be a credit on your resume that people can see. It can't live in your hard drive. It has to live out in the world where people can consume and digest that. If you adopt that as a lifestyle, you won't have to worry about trying to find work. The work will find you.
That's good advice, and I can certainly subscribe to that. And that kind of goes part and parcel with being ready for your 15 minutes of fame, right? So you have to be proactive, you have to be ahead of that anticipation, and be prepared to act on any opportunity that comes across your desk with all of these things that you're recommending that people do. So have your website. So it's very easy and quick to recommend your URL to somebody to take a look at your documents online that verify or speak to your ability. And getting on one of these social media platforms, either the LinkedIn or the TikTok or the IMDb Pro. And then keeping an open mind about your possibilities is a really good piece of advice. And understand that instead of fixating on whatever your goal is and just staying narrow-minded about that, be ready to accept an opportunity that comes your way that can help you, maybe in a roundabout way, but ultimately in a way that's effective in getting you through some of the obstacles that stand in your way, putting you in a better position to pursue something that you're really passionate about. So you can either push for the career first and wait for the money to happen, or push for the money first and then finance what you want to happen, but not to ignore an opportunity that comes your way from left field just simply because you hadn't considered it before. I hope that I'm reinterpreting these notes effectively. And then do something to distinguish yourself amongst the voices in the crowd so that your voice can be heard, and then be ready, with something to say. I think finding your voice is a really important part of this. Understand it's not just about getting other people to understand your brand or to recognize your brand, but to, I think, identify with what you have to say. So I think you want to be concerned about what your message is, or what are you trying to put out there that you need or want to other people to resonate with. I think that might be really important, something really important to consider. This is all terrific advice. I really love the content, the context of the conversation, and the energy that you bring to this conversation, Chris. I really appreciate that.
I get all kinds of like weird offers outside of the box. Like I am an actual film and video production professional. That's why I'm here. But I do other stuff like when I was looking for gigs, freelancing, doing film and video production, came across this opportunity where they wanted somebody to edit for an online aviation program, but they wanted the person who shoots and edits to also host the show. And so, I've done a little bit of acting. Next thing you know, for a year and a half, I was a host of an aviation program that I also had to shoot and edit. Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited. And so, you just got to run with it. I used to be a Predator, promo producer, writer, editor for a national show called Independent Lens on PBS, where I would do like the next on Independent Lens, President Ellen Sir John Leaf. So I'd have to write that for the episode, and I'd have to look at the content and edit it. And then I would direct the voiceover remotely, before remote was a thing. I was in Nashville, the artist was in Texas. But when you're to prep the voiceover talent for the direction, you lay down a temp track. And then my supervisor, when I would say, what do you want me to tell Cynthia? And he would always say, tell her to read it just like you did. I mean, like anything else? No, read it exactly like you did. And so it was always in the back of the mind, well, should I be doing voiceovers if it's should it sound like my brother, who has a 7-figure company, just having me do a gig. I was, doing my process, I was going to Audio Jungle, grabbing, my After Effects, grabbing my music. Then I noticed that you could get a voiceover. And I was like, what? Are they selling voiceovers online? And then so I was like, well, I got equipment. And I just started typing around, and I just jumped in the voiceover game and started making money. Now that I'm in school too at UCF, I'm third year PhD student in digital media, but I've turned down some good money because I was busy with school. So I just get weird stuff like before the semester started, it was a like online audio book company from Mumbai in India wanted me to do like a 50 page book, but it was beneath my rate. So it was paying like $5,000, but and that was still like beneath my rate. And I didn't have time anyways. Never tell people no. If you go to Hollywood, they're going to tell you the sexiest word in Hollywood is no, but you don't want to say no because that person might blow up, and then it's their mission to destroy Colin Bass Night. And so you have what's called a soft pass, and a soft pass is when where you never really give them an answer at all, and that's a soft pass, and so they don't have to say no, and so they don't have to go on a mission with you when you make it. People, offer me stuff that I don't want to be involved with, and I never say no, or I'll just make my price so high that they won't pay it. Or if I think the project's never going to happen, I'll just keep playing along, and because it's never going to happen. But I never say no, but I always engineer a way to not have to say no. Sometimes when I make my price so ridiculous, like somebody's like, can you use for $30? And I'm like, no, my price is $3,000. Sometimes those people say yes. And it's like, I guess I'm going to be making this $3,000 2-minute video. Yeah, don't underestimate the power of your own power. Just throw a rate out there, and you'd be surprised, at least 50% of the time, people will just pay it.
That's terrific. What do you think, guys? Want to put any of this to good use?
Sure did. Already made my LinkedIn.
As a matter of fact, I did the same thing too.
It's on my profile strength is actually on
my LinkedIn.
my profile strength is actually on intermediate, as a matter of fact.
There you go.
So I very much appreciated these recommendations, Chris.
I'm getting hit up on LinkedIn almost every day for people trying to get me to apply to jobs. There's work out there.
I already sent you a connect request, Mike.
All right.
I guess I'm going to have to start answering those. I have to admit, I haven't been on top of my own social media presence on the internet, and I'm starting to think that I have maybe miscalculated on the value of that.
Yeah, I guess you got to look at more like that, because sometimes sometimes when I look at social media, I don't really see it as even though social media has brought more people together, there are certain times where it's brought people even further apart.
At the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency, there was just a guy, not an influencer. He just made a funny video for his friends where he just took Donald Trump's head and put it on a wrestler, and then put the CNN logo on another wrestler, and it looked like body Donald Trump slammed CNN. Somehow Donald Trump sees this video from just nobody, he's just a guy, retweets it. Now it's like 85 million views. His name is everywhere. CNN has demanded an apology. And that's just how powerful social media is, when that one person who makes a difference goes, oh, wow, this is funny. I'm going to reshare it to my 85 million followers.
You just made him famous.
You got to be online. I mean, you got to be in the game. You got to have something out there. You can't be found if there's nothing out there to be found. You got to be in the game. And then if you're in the game and you have fresh content, just believe in yourself and what you're doing and keep doing things the right way. It'll work out.
Of course, but there are certain times where groups like cancel culture can be quite powerful,
85 million views creates what's called quality problems, and being canceled becomes a quality problem. You've been promoted to so much visibility. That's what my mom calls being promoted to your level of incompetence, because there's 85 million people that are just all focused on Sean.
Yeah, well, it depends on for better or for worse, it's pretty risky. That's why I try to be careful what I say on social media. Luckily, I'm not that big, so what I say doesn't matter.
When you make a feature film or TV show, never read your reviews. It doesn't matter if you walk on water. All Jesus Christ did was heal people, and they crucified him for that. So what do you think is going to happen in your reviews? I've had people just find every product I've ever sold just to say Chris Odom is the devil. He's the problem. Do not read your reviews.
Well, as long as one doesn't get too bothered by it, because I for one appreciate some good criticism, because if I saw some reviews and saw that there were some understandable things that might need to get fixed or something, get better with, I'm all for it. If you're willing to help me make better movies and you're not even getting paid for it, then that's free advice right there. So, well, yeah.
I think that begs a question, Chris, and I don't know if you can speak to this or if have any feelings or opinions on it, but how do we strike an effective balance between our social media presence and our branding and trying to be unique and trying to put a persona out there that shows who we are to our audience, and yet protect some of or hold back some of our personal life information, opinions, and so forth that might conflict with the branding mission of the social media, and not put something out there that then becomes dangerous or infectious in the wrong way.
So
Yeah, like politics.
You can divide branding up into like two different schools of thought. I'm always shooting for marketing people for some reason. It's a marketing guru I shot with where his clients were marketing agencies. And he really didn't do like very aggressive sales, for himself, but he used all of his personal social media as part of his professional presence, but no religion, no politics, nothing controversial, nothing that could blow back on him. But he liked using his personal brand because it helps people people connect with you as a person, not as a number. And so like, oh, you got kids, I got kids. Oh, they play baseball, mine play baseball. Oh, your daughter's a cheerleader. Oh, my son's on cheer squad. And so actually becoming a person is that's one school of thought of marketing. But then the other school of thought is like, oh no, all I do is post religion and politics. I don't know if I want to have that out there. And that's when people create sort of alternative identities, or at least alternative places with their own name, where they market themselves professionally in different places, like people who don't want to use Facebook for their professional presence will block people. I'm still trying to be famous, so I don't have anybody blocked anywhere, but I basically only actively share LinkedIn. And if I'm for my students, I share LinkedIn. For me right now, in terms of marketing myself, I'm using what I call just sort of like one call to action. No matter where you find me online, the only call to action I have right now is to invite me, and that takes you to a landing page, which is for my identity as Christopher Odom, PhD candidate. And so that's the only call to action that exists right now. And so although so if I'm not sending you LinkedIn, I'm just sending you to that landing page. And then all the other places I exist still send you to that landing page for PhD Chris. I still exist other places. And if you can find my real site and dig through the menus, all my stuff is in there. But right now I'm just marketing myself just holistically as PhD Chris. And so I've had to do what people have done, is go back and scrub some of my old tweets and stuff. Didn't realize that you could be uplifted to 2 million views, and suddenly it doesn't sound so funny.
Okay, well, that's good advice. I think I'm going to stick to the professional persona only strategy for the social media. And
that is a good idea, Mike, because there are times where people's opinions get hurt of their favorite celebrities when it turns out you've seen a side of them that you've never expected.
yeah.
It's
Not
really
everyone can
easy to
handle it.
put your personal stuff on lockdown too. Like on Twitter, you'll see the little black lock. These tweets are protected. And so if you're saying, hey, I only want, when you're marketing and branding yourself actively, you'll need to focus on 1 or 2 platforms. Still own your presence on like the top 10 or 20, but you're only focusing on 1 or 2. 3 is kind of pushing it. If you still with the other stuff that's not going to be your professional persona, just lock it. Nobody can see it except your friends. You just lock it down. Nobody can see it. And you change your account name, so your name is not even in it. You know, the people I've known for so long have almost forgotten their names because they've all changed their names to something, you know, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'm like, who the hell is that? But yeah, just lock it all down and you just have one thing that can be found by the media for you professionally.
Okay, that's really good advice, actually. What do you think? Any other questions for Chris? Well, we've only got a couple more minutes with him. I want to make sure that we address anything that is pressing from the conversation. I took copious notes here, so hopefully that will help as well to alleviate any of the questions that might happen after the fact. But what do you think? Have we walked away with some actionable advice, intelligence here? I know that I have.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
I actually, Chris, you had a project for me at one point of refining a video that's online, and I did that really kind of wondering whether or not it would, you know, what the far-reaching implications of value would be. And it seems like in the last 6 months or so, every time I have sent out an inquiry for, you know, a teaching position or a job opportunity, I'm putting the link to that page in
Yes,
my
that's
query
what it was
letter.
for.
So it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's already paying dividends. And, you know, it was something that I just sort of did, you know, because I was told to do it, and it's actually working. So I appreciate that advice, and I'm following it currently. So the webpage
Yeah,
is
for
definitely a good idea.
any of you that want to be a feature filmmaker, you must make a feature. It doesn't have to be for $1 million. Just look up Mark Duplass, South by Southwest. Just take $1,000, make a feature in one house. My first feature was $2,400. It went all around the world. Swept at the first festival. $2,400. If I count the camera, it was a little bit more, but $2,400, $2,300 was for food. Feed the crew hot meals. If you could feed the crew a hot meal, you can get them to sign anything.
That's terrific. That's terrific. All right, guys. One last pass through the audience. Do we have any remaining questions for Chris before I call for adjournment? All right. Well, thank you, sir, for taking the time. I know your schedule is very busy. I applaud you for all of the things that you're doing right now. You are my hero for being a doctoral candidate at UCF at this point. It's a lot of work that I'm not sure I'm even up to at this point in time. So I have a great deal of admiration for that ambition, and also for your infectious enthusiasm and your excellent advice, your very excellent advice. So I thank you on all of those points. And thank you for coming and sharing that with us as a group.
All right. It was a joy to be here. And for those of you who get a TV show, most important thing is I'd like to write one episode.
Don't forget me. There you go.
Even if it's a kids animated series, would you still do it?
Kids animated at this point? Yes, I'd consider it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
There you go. So where should inquiries be forwarded to, Mr. Odom? Or should we say Dr. Odom? Not quite yet.
I'm like really easy to find. The easiest thing would just go to if you don't find me on LinkedIn, just go to ChristopherOdom.com. I'm like really easy to find.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I hope that your recent paper is received well by the selection committee or the committee whom you were corresponding. And I hope that perhaps in the spring we can get you back for to revisit us at some point with a new group of hopefuls in the Capstone 1 series. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
Found you.
All right.
You got you. You're on the radar.
Just shot you a follow.
All right. You guys have a great week.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Chris.
Thank you
Thank you
very much.
again for your time.
Well, gentlemen, there you have it. So I think that was a great note to end the visiting lecture series for Capstone this semester. It is the 18th. Next week, of course, is Thanksgiving. So we will not have class for the holiday. And that will leave, I think, 1 or 2 sessions remaining where we'll just sort of do some housework and some cleaning up, discussions about outstanding assignments or any last minute details that we need to clean up your business for this semester. And then I think some of you, if not all of you at this point, are going to be looking towards your graduation at that point, aren't you?
Well, all of us, because Capstone it has to be done by last semester.
Well, this is Capstone 1, so I'm pretty sure we have a Capstone 2, don't we? At UCF?
No, Capstone 2 is only for the BFAs.
Gotcha. Okay, that's the differentiation. All right. Well, very good. Then that means that you guys are almost out the door at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, I hope this was helpful. If you can think of any questions, anything comes up after the fact, like I said, I did take copious notes and I can respond to you, or we can forward your questions to Christopher Odom and see if we can get answers to your satisfaction. So I'll put it to you guys as the remainder of the group. Do you have any questions for me or any questions about outstanding business with the class before we adjourn?
Not at the moment, no.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
But we'll come back to this. We know your contact info.
Yeah, you know where to find me. So if something comes up, shoot me an email.
I know where to find you. I
There you
know where you live.
All right, then. Well, I'm going to move to adjourn the meeting at this point. Let you guys go early so you can get into your holiday that much quicker. Anyone have a second on that motion?
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving next week. And reach out if you have any questions or comments. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next Zoom session.
All right, you too.
All right.
Ciao.
Have a
Take
good
care.
day.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.